Hey everyone, what's going on? Hope you're all doing great because this update brings a seriously fun shakeup to the way matches feel. And I wanted to talk through it with you like we're just chatting after a session, breaking down the wild moments and figuring out what actually matters. The big highlight is Blast Off Sourcore, this energetic 3v3 mode built entirely around low gravity and a map full of launch pads that turn every fight into something you don't normally see in standard matches. The second you spawn, you can feel how different everything is. Your jumps carry you farther, your falls feel weightless, and every launch pad becomes a route, an escape plan, or a full-on attack path, depending on how you use it. It's the kind of mode where people aren't just running toward objectives. They're flying, drifting, arcing through the air while trading shots mid-flight, and it looks even crazier when you watch it back in clips. What makes it even more entertaining is that everything the tuned loadout that fits this style, the CL40, the jump pad, and evasive dash. You notice right away that the whole setup encourages constant movement. If you're used to standing on solid ground and holding angles, this mode forces you to let go of that comfort zone. You're aiming in midair, tracking targets who are floating right alongside you, and figuring out how to control your momentum so you don't overshoot the fight or drift into a crossfire. It's chaotic in a good way. The kind of chaos that rewards quick thinking and creativity, rather than just perfect mechanical skill. The CL40 feels completely different in this environment. Because the pace of movement is so fast, explosions become area control tools instead of just damage sources. Sometimes you don't even need to hit someone directly. You just pop an explosion in their path and the slow-mo float sends them drifting offline long enough for a teammate to finish them. And if you're aiming from above, that downward angle makes each blast feel way more dramatic. Add in the jump pad and suddenly you're designing your own routes across the map. Want to get high ground? One pad. Want to crash into a fight from an unexpected angle? Dash, pad, mid-air boost, and you're there. Want to escape after whiffing your shots? You guessed it. Pad and float away like you're in some action movie. Evasive dash plays a huge role too because the entire mode is built around predicting movement. People assume you'll follow a predictable arc when you're flying, so timing a dash mid-air can completely throw off anyone tracking you. Use it too early, and you drift in a straight line, begging to get hit. Use it late, and you suddenly whip sideways, forcing your opponent to adjust while you reset the fight. There's this satisfying feeling when you dodge a shot midair, almost like time slows down for a second and you realize how open the space around you becomes. What makes Blast Off Sourcore truly different from other modes is the way positioning works. Normally, controlling the ground or holding a corridor matters most, but here, vertical control becomes the real meta. Launch pad clusters act like miniature choke points. If your team owns the pads, you own the skies. And whoever controls the skies tends to control the pace of each fight. You start to notice patterns. Teams that grab the higher pads first can crash down on everyone else, winning fights simply because they set the angle. Teams that fight from the lower pads always end up reacting instead of initiating. It's little details like that which make this mode oddly strategic beneath all the explosive chaos. A really fun part of learning this mode is figuring out how your aim changes in low gravity. You can't just flick like you usually do. Your own movement affects your aim more than in normal matches. When you're drifting, shots feel floaty and recoil takes you in directions you don't anticipate unless you practice a bit. Some players will get frustrated with that at first, but once you get the hang of it, landing a clean mid-air shot becomes one of the best feelings this game can offer. You start adjusting your crosshair earlier, predicting not just where the enemy will go, but where you'll float to. That mutual movement creates these dance-like firefights, where both teams are trying to outfloat and out-aim each other. The mode is also an incredible opportunity for content creators. The visuals alone are perfect for montages, people soaring over rooftops, explosions lighting up the air, full teams drifting into frame like they were launched out of cannons. If you record footage, you'll notice that every match has moments that look unintentionally cinematic. Even the defeats look cool because you fall in slow arcs or get blasted backward with a full view of the battlefield spinning beneath you. If you're making guides, the mode gives you tons of little teaching moments too. For example, when you're floating, grenade timing changes. When you're dashing in midair, your escape routes become completely different. When you miss a launch pad by an inch, you don't fall. You drift off into some bizarre new angle of attack. Of course, the update didn't just stop at this mode. There were performance improvements and stability fixes that make the whole experience smoother. Crashes that were annoying people in earlier patches are far less common now, and the social toggle issue that kept resetting your open to friends status finally behaves itself. For anyone who plays with squads or record scrims, that alone is a relief. Nothing kills momentum faster than having to remake lobbies every few matches. And if you're someone who spectates or casts games, the improvements to spectator mode are actually a bigger deal than most people realize. Cleaner camera switching, Smoother playback and more reliable controls mean creators and competitive players can finally record without worrying that the replay system is going to glitch or freeze. These stability changes also mean something subtle. The developers continue to polish the game for event-level production. That's a good sign for the long-term future because it shows they care not just about casual play, but also about how the game looks when people are watching it. Uh, and honestly, with a mode as visually loud as Blast Off Sourcore, good spectator tools make everything twice as fun to watch. If you're planning to get better at this mode, one of the best things you can do is to spend a little time practicing aerial control. Try jumping, dashing, and firing while predicting your own movement. Try chaining the jump pad into mid-air adjustments. Try setting up ambushes from above by placing a pad behind cover, then launching yourself at a diagonal angle. A lot of players float straight upward or straight forward, which makes them easy to track. The real trick is learning to curve your path. Use a diagonal pad placement, tap your movement keys lightly midair, and suddenly your route becomes unpredictable. Mix in a late dash and you become very hard to hit. Team play gets interesting too because spacing matters more than usual. In regular modes, staying close is good for trades. Here, staying close just means you might get caught in the same explosion or land in the same predictable arc. Spread out, coordinate angles, and crash together only when you know you'll catch the enemy off guard. Communication becomes surprisingly important in a mode that looks chaotic from the outside. If you tell your teammates launching right pad or dropping from above, everyone can sync their timing and the enemy gets overwhelmed before they even realize what direction the attacks came from. If you're making content about this update, one idea that works really well is doing slowdown replays of your midair fights. Show your movement, highlight the moment you use your dash, show how the enemy reacted, and then explain why you won or lost that micro engagement. People love seeing the thought process behind movement-heavy plays because it makes the mode feel learnable instead of random. Another great idea is to compare grounded firing patterns with airborne ones. Show side-by-side clips of recoil patterns changing when you're drifting. A lot of viewers won't understand why their aim feels off until they see it visualized. On top of all this, one thing I love about the update is that it encourages creativity. This isn't a rigid mode with one proper meta. It's a sandbox disguised as a competitive experience. You can spend an entire match experimenting with pad placements, dash timings, air angles, and still discover new interactions every time. That sense of discovery is something the game sometimes loses in regular modes because everyone settles into predictable strategies. But here, everything feels fresh again. People are trying wild ideas, playing aggressively, laughing as they fly past each other, or pulling off mid-air shots they didn't even expect to land. As you get deeper into it, you'll start noticing the little details the developers built into the mode, the way fall speed is reduced just enough to give you room for creativity, but not so much that fights drag on, the way explosions push your character slightly, giving you that tiny bit of extra travel, the way timing your dash can save you from what looked like a guaranteed hit. It all adds up to a mode that feels polished, deliberate, and genuinely fun. Wrapping things up, this update isn't just another patch. It's the kind of shift that gives the whole community something new to play with. Something visually exciting, something technically interesting, and something that's just straight up enjoyable. Whether you're grinding the mode seriously or just hopping in for the chaos, Blast Off Sourcore brings a spark that brings players together in the best way.